of FAS Bookkeeping and Tax Services. In our practice, we've been using QuickBooks Online as our accounting software, and we've been using it for many years now. I decided to create a short video on the fundamentals of QuickBooks Online. This is a 4-part series. So the first part is getting started. Part 2 is how to navigate QuickBooks Online. Part 3 is probably the main event. That's the recording of transactions in QuickBooks Online. And Part 4, which is, for me, very important and my favorite, reporting using QuickBooks Online. Mind you that this video is not getting into the weeds or details of using QuickBooks Online. This is again just fundamentals of using QuickBooks, and I'm just covering those basic concepts about using QuickBooks Online and some of the commonly used functions within QuickBooks Online that you can use or apply in your business. Now, after watching this video and you think that's something I don't want to do or spend my time, I'd rather spend my time generating revenue or establishing a relationship with my customers, then no worries. We are here to take that burden off your shoulder. Again, I'm Christy Fontanilla of FAS Bookkeeping and Tax Services.
Hi, this is the first part of the 4-part series on QuickBooks Online. The first part is just to show you how to get started on QuickBooks Online. This is already assuming that you've opened a QuickBooks Online account and you're doing the initial setup here. So just to get familiar with the QuickBooks Online, so you would see here on the left side here, getting things done, business overview, get paid and pay, payroll, bookkeeping, taxes. So here, this is a sample company. So getting things done just kind of gives you an overview of the workflow of money in, which is the revenue, money out, which are all the expenses, and of course the accounting and the reporting. The workflow on money in is, of course, we need to add first the products or services that we're providing. We're adding customers, creating estimates if you're using estimates, or directly creating invoice to bill your customer and getting collection or getting paid for those service rendered or products delivered. And then that funding that you receive, that whether you get a loan or from your collected revenue, will go to here, money out, which is to pay your bills and pay your employees. So that's the workflow of money going out or expenses. And then here is your accounting and the reporting. So you will have your bank accounts and credit card accounts synced to QuickBooks Online. You connect that to QuickBooks Online, and then the reporting would help you see the trends and run the financial reports so you know what's going on in your business. So that's under getting things done. Now, if you want to go to the business overview, we will have the cash flow, the reports, and then the planner. So this is more, so the reports are the different reports that you can run from QuickBooks Online. We'll discuss this later on under part 4 on reporting. Now, if you go back here, of course, getting paid and paying, that's where you set up your vendors. So this is very limited right now because it's a new sample company. There's no data here, but I just want to show you the different functionalities here in QuickBooks Online that you will see on the left side here. So under the customers, that's where you set up your new customer. Of course, invoices is where you create invoices. And then products and services, this is where you set up the different products or service that you provide. On the vendor side, that's where, again, you set up your 1099 employees or the different vendors that you purchase from, that you need for running your business. If you're using Intuit Payroll, then you will be under this tab. So that's the payroll. Bookkeeping. The bookkeeping is really more of recording transaction, bank account, credit card reconciliation, payroll reconciliation, and doing the final review, making sure that the different transactions are coded correctly. The taxes are for your sales tax if you're creating invoice in QuickBooks Online and you're adding sales tax. So this is where you can run the sales tax liability report as your basis for paying the sales tax to the state controller. So again, to show you the different functionalities here, so if we go to the gear icon here, you would see the different items here on regarding your company. There is where you set up your account settings, managing users, like adding other users for your QuickBooks Online, and then inviting your accountant as well. If you want to customize your invoice, chart of accounts, and then the list here, products and services. If you have recurring transactions, like if you have a fixed amount for your billing every month, then that's where you can set up under the recurring transactions. On the tools, you have importing data, reconcile, budgeting. All right, so if we go to, let's start with the account and settings. So the accounts and settings, you will see here the company, the billing, subscription, usage, sales, expenses, payments, advance. So under the company, this is where you can put in your logo, your company name, your legal name, your EIN. This is where you input that. The company type, if you are a sole proprietor, partnership, S corporation, or C corporation. The industry, if you're professional or professional company, or legal, or AC, so trade services, then this is where you put that in. Your email address for your company, your email address, your company address. So that's under company. The billings and subscription, that's just the subscription level you're in, and the monthly subscription for that. Now on the sales, this is where you customize your invoice, like the format or how your invoice will look like. So here you can customize the look and feel. So say you're using the default. So this is like the sample design where you have the invoice, the bill to, date, activity description, the quantity, your rate, and then your total invoice. So you can add your logo, and then in terms of content, this is where you can edit the content as well. So for example, here you can just click on the pencil icon there, and then you can make all the changes here. This is the description. So date, if you want to put the date, the product, the description, and then of course here is the amount, including the size of the font. And then the emails. So you can either have the PDF format of the invoice attached to the email, and then here you can customize your message to your customer, and then you can even send like a reminder email for those that are a little bit behind in their payment. So that's how you customize your invoice. So let's go back to the account and settings. So we covered the sales. Now on the expenses, if you're using the bill payments in QuickBooks in Intuit, then you will use this, but if not, then or that's actually under the QuickBooks payments. On the advance, This is just more of some accounting setup here. So normally, small business owners use the calendar year, which is January 1st to December 31st. And then the accounting method is normally or usually cash basis. And then I would suggest that you turn on the close the book. So that means that at the end of the calendar year, the books is closed. So if ever there's changes made on prior year, you will get like a warning. You're changing prior year transaction. That's really very helpful if you've already filed your income tax return and you're making changes on the books. Then that would give you a reminder that, are you sure you want to change the financial from the prior period when you already have filed your income tax return. Automation, those are very straightforward. And also the other preference here. So we've covered account and settings, manage users. This is really where you would be adding. If you have a new user, you can add here the new user, and then normally it's a company admin, so they would have access to all. So here it would normally ask you for a security code, especially if you're adding a new user. Now, if you want to invite an accountant to access your QuickBooks Online, then this is where you can invite your accountant. So you click on invite here, and then write the first name, last name, and email address, and then your accountant will get email invite from Intuit. They will have to accept it so they can access your QuickBooks Online account. To sync your online banking to QuickBooks Online, because that would save you a lot of time in terms of eliminating manual data entry for all those bank transactions and credit card transactions. So if you go under banking, and then here you will see the different bank accounts. So you have the checking, the savings, and then the credit card. So best practice is you put in, say, your bank name is Wells Fargo, checking, and then it's a good idea to put the last 4 digits of the checking account so you can easily identify it. So the same thing for the savings and also for the credit card. So this means that you have 25 transactions that you haven't accepted that's waiting for your review and for accepting in QuickBooks Online. So how do you get to sync your QuickBooks Online or your banking transactions to QuickBooks Online? So we go to link account, and then here is where you will see the different bank accounts. So let's say you have Wells Fargo. So since this is a sample company, a trial, then it doesn't allow us to do that. But what happened is you just click on the bank account, and then you log in as usual with your username and password as if you're logging in to your online banking, and then just follow the step-by-step, and then make sure that you have identified or click on the correct account to sync to QuickBooks Online. So let's exit that. So that is where you can sync your bank account to QuickBooks Online. Now, there are cases when it's showing an error, it's not synchronizing transactions. So you just go to this pencil icon and then edit sign-in info, and then it will show you again the screen where you're required to put in your login credentials so you can sync your online banking to QuickBooks Online. Now, the other important thing when you're setting up your QuickBooks Online is the chart of accounts. The chart of accounts are the different expense, revenue, asset, liabilities, and equities that are being used so that those financial transactions are classified and categorized into a useful or meaningful format we call the profit and loss and the balance sheet. So this is very important in terms of setting up your chart of accounts. QuickBooks already have like pre-established chart of accounts, but it's not complete. So you just keep on adding, or make sure that you customize your chart of accounts based on your business needs. One very important, and I'll probably repeat that on the other three parts, is when setting up the new account. So you go to new, and then this is where you set up what account type, detail type, of course the name, the description of the account. So here is so for example, we're setting up, so these are the different account types. So you have accounts receivable, other current assets, bank, fixed assets, other assets, accounts payable, credit card. So this is really your assets, including the bank and the fixed asset, other assets. So these are all your asset accounts on the balance sheet. These are all your liabilities and equity on your balance sheet. And then this is your profit and loss. So you have the income, you have the cost of goods sold, you have expenses, and then you have other income, other expenses. So let's say bank. So the bank can be checking, cash on hand, money market, savings, right? We go to the accounts receivable. So that's just one account receivable. Other current assets can be this different types of assets. So for small business, the most common would be employee cash advances, inventory, if you have investments, loan to officers, to shareholders, other current asset, prepaid expense. The fixed assets are your depreciable assets, which is like your computers, your furniture, equipment. So it's got some options here on what you can select from. But these are the fixed assets, meaning assets that have a useful life of more than 1 year. So you've got leasehold improvements, machineries, equipments, vehicles. The other assets are goodwill, organizational costs, other long-term assets. Now for the liabilities, we have accounts payable, credit card, other current liabilities, and long-term liabilities. So accounts payable, if you're creating bills in QuickBooks, then you will be using this accounts payable account. Credit card, of course, all those credit card transactions. So you would set up your credit card account here. So that would be a credit card payable. And long-term liabilities will be loans that payable over 1 year. So that's normally your notes payable, loans payable over 1 year. Equity is that would include the shareholder initial capital or investment in the business. So these are all your liabilities and equity. Now if we go to the profit and loss, so you would have income. Of course, that's your revenue. Cost of goods sold are those expenses that you incur that can be directly identifiable to the product or service that you provide. So for example, if you're in construction business, so your cost of goods sold will be your labor cost and the cost of materials. So that should be part of the cost of goods sold, not expenses. So expenses are those that you incur and not directly identifiable to the product or service that you provide. So for example, rent, that's a fixed cost and that should be part of expenses, not cost of goods sold. And then you have other expense and then other income. So just make sure that you're assigning the correct type to the different accounts that you're setting up in QuickBooks Online. Now, expenses. So, expenses will have a lot of different types here. So, you would have auto, bank charges, charitable contributions, and so on. So, there's a lot of options here. Just make sure again that you identify and select the correct detail type for that particular expense. So again, that gives you an overview of the how to set up your bank account to sync to QuickBooks Online, your credit card to sync to QuickBooks Online, and also how to correctly set up the different accounts under your chart of accounts here.